morning. Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to day 4 of our garden wall hanging live crochet along. I'm going to be picking up where I left off yesterday, which is about, halfway through the sky, I suppose. We are making a garden wall hanging. We have been working on the canvas all this week. We have got the little green foreground, the garden plot, which is this nice little brown chunk done, and we're working on the sky. Some of you have already finished. I've been able to share some photos of progress and some finished canvases in our community tab. So if you've missed those, make sure after the live you pop over to the community tab and you take a look at some of those photos because they are great. And if you're still kind of like putting together color inspiration for yourself, there's some wonderful ideas there for color and distribution of color. Just loving it. We are using the half double crochet stitch. Each row is 54 stitches across. The full instructions for the canvas are in the description box. So if you are just joining, if you are moving a little slower than me, moving a little faster than me, it's all there for you. And I'm going to continue with this blue where I left off. Size 4 medium weight acrylic yarn is what I'm using. I'm using a 5.5 millimeter hook, also known as an I or a 9. And chain 1 turn at the end of every row and half double crochet in each stitch all the way across. I'm going to do around, I was going to use sort of just have a solid amount of this color for roughly 17 rows, but then I thought it made sense a couple days ago to kind of intertwine these two blue colors together for a few rows. I think I did that for 4 rows. So I think I have 14 rows of this, and then I've got 4 rows of that. I'm going to do another 12 rows of just this solid blue before I start to work in this little sort of variegated or self-striping blue-white baby yarn that I have, and I'm going to work it alongside this. And I think that'll be the end of my sky. So with any luck, I will get the sky finished today so that tomorrow, Friday, we will also be live streaming rather than having a regular scheduled video. We're going to live stream and we're going to get the border put on to the blanket. So, or I should say the canvas. If I don't quite get this every row of the sky done today, I'll just polish that off before we go, as we get going tomorrow on the live stream, because the border is 2 very simple little rows, and we're going to do that together. That shouldn't take the whole hour at all. So no rush. Again, if you're moving slower, if you're moving faster, doesn't matter. The instructions are in the description box. And of course, you can always go back to the beginning of this little live crochet along series because we have not removed it. We will not remove it. The whole thing will be put together in a playlist and you can come back to it and use it anytime you want. Welcome everybody. So if you're still just joining us, that's where we're at. Mr. and Stitches is pushing buttons.
Hello everybody.
We do have a sneaky sale in the shop today if you are interested. It is our deciduous tree. A couple people asked about trees yesterday. We do have a tree tutorial and a tree pattern from our folk art calendar blanket project from way back. And we've put that pattern that's in our shop on sale along with our butterfly. The butterfly applique we did last week or the week before. I'm starting to lose track now, but it's all there. The 2 of those patterns are up top in the featured listings section, and they are today's sneaky sale. And thank you to everybody who's popped in and picked up a pattern. I'd like to welcome Lori. We have a new member who joined us today before the live stream got going. Welcome, Lori. And we've got a membership milestone from Joanna. Hi, Joanna. Joanna's been a member for 27 months. Joanna says, it's my 67th birthday today. Happy birthday, Joanna. My husband bought me 2 Addie knitting machines and I'm having fun too.
Ooh, fun.
I don't even have one. Well, happy birthday, Joanna, and happy birthday to all the birthday babies in May. May is a great month to be born. Tina, hi Tina. Tina's been a member for 3 months with a membership milestone. Says hello and thank you all so much for the amazing videos. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you, all of you, for being here. I've got a ginger lemon tea today. That's today's sip of choice. And, all right. Chain 1 turn. Oh my goodness. It's Joanne getting us started at the shop today. Hello, Joanne. Thank you so much for picking up a pattern. I'm going to, oh my goodness gracious. Deborah, thank you. Thank you for picking up a pattern, Deborah. I'm going to crochet back and forth here. I'm going to measure as I go. We did some measurements yesterday just to kind of keep track of how long this thing is getting. And I want to just remind you that personal choice is a huge part of this little work of art. So if you want your canvas taller, you can add more rows to any section. If you want it shorter, you can remove rows from the overall pattern in any section. The pattern notes in the description box are more of a guideline. You can make it wider by adding more chains in your original foundation row. You don't have to make it as wide. And if you're really into using thread and doing tiny things with, like, say, thread or sock weight yarn, of course you can completely size down the entire project by using very lightweight yarn or crochet thread and a small associated hook. I hear a ding, but why? Why do I hear the ding ding? Mr. and Stitches, what can I not see?
Did you get the membership milestone from Tina?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I even read it out.
I missed it.
That's okay. There's a lot
Tina
going
gets
on.
two shout outs.
Big thanks to Tina, to Joanne, to Lori, to the ladies in the shop doing a little shopping too.
I also like ringing the bell, so.
Yes. Mr. and Stitches needs a bigger bell. You know those beautiful bells that they put on cows in Switzerland? I should get him one of those. All right, so I'm going to finish this row. I'm going to count up how many rows I've done so far in just this blue on its own. So not counting the 4 transition rows. And then I'm going to check where I'm at. I have to do 52 rows of sky in total. That's my plan. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I've done 11 so far, so that's 14, and 11 is 25, right? Plus 4 is 29. So I'm 29 rows in to my sky. Got quite a number of rows left to go. But that's okay. I want lots of sky. I want lots of room for soaring insects and possibly a couple of birds, maybe some fluffy clouds, maybe even a sunshine. There are so many possibilities with appliques to add to this little project. I've been still steadily working away at designing a few more. We're going to play a good chunk of this project by ear, everybody. So we were able to go live every day this week. That was a lot of fun. We wanted to kind of work on the canvas together, make the canvas up. But we do have tutorials, and some of them are live, some of them are regular tutorials for a lot of the appliques that I'm considering using, but I want you all to know that you can use. So we've got a ton. We've got playlists in the description box down below. So if you're mulling over what you'd like to add to your garden wall hanging, you do not have to do it exactly the way I'm doing it, obviously. And so there's plenty of garden related applique already existing in our library. We've got some more that we're going to have scattered throughout the upcoming weeks. If you're in a hurry though to get this project done, there are more than enough applique tutorials available, and you can go ahead and do that. So if you want to work along with me, great. If you want to speed ahead and get one done, super. It is all good. This is all about having fun, being creative, and kind of celebrating the spring. I am eager to see how much I can get done today. Hello, Chris. Chris is in the chat with a membership milestone. Chris has been a member for 11 months. Thank you so much, Chris. Says, hi, Jada. Have you ever done birdie appliques? I do have. We have 2 birds technically. Who asked me? Krista, I think, asked me this the other day, if we had any birdie appliques. And at the time I said, oh yeah, technically we've got a chicken head. Because we do. We have a chicken head. But after a little bit of thought, I realized we also have a turkey. We have an entire turkey applique that we did eons ago for, mostly for Thanksgiving. But, I mean, who... I think it's okay to have a turkey roaming around your garden. So those are technically the 2 bird-related appliques that we have. I am working on a couple of other designs, though. Joya, thank you so much for picking up a few patterns. And we've got a membership milestone from Louise. Hi, Louise. Louise has been a member for 65 months. Goodness gracious. Thank you, Louise. Louise says, hi, all. Currently dealing with yarn barf and frogging my calendar squares to redo them all as April squares, meant a change in idea for yarn use. Let me read that again. To redo them all as April squares, frogging my calendar squares to redo them all as April square, meant a change in idea for yarn use. Meant a change in idea for yarn use. Okay, I'm going to guess that you're making all of your squares the April squares, which are the 4 corner grannies, which I think is really cool because those things are a nice dense square, and B, great for making blankets. You can stash bust with them. So I love that. I hope you're going to send me photographs. And oh my gosh, Kelly with a membership milestone. Hi, Kelly. Kelly's been a member for 42 months. Thank you, Kelly. Kelly says, yes, Jada, please do your Jada's son. Aw. Yes, we've got a son. We have a few sons, actually. I think we've got several son applique tutorials. We've got a sun applique that's about this big. We've got a sun coaster, which is about this big. We've got the folk art calendar blanket sun, which is really stylized, and it's quite large. That's 3. We did a miniature version of a sun for use as a pendant, so like a piece of jewelry. And that one's really cute. So goodness gracious, we've got a whole bunch of suns. And then of course, oh my gosh, Ronald and Kathy are in the house. Hello, cousins. Ronald and Kathy J with a very super chat. Hello. It says, good morning, Jada and Mr. and Stitches. Been under the weather. Oh, that stinks, but feeling great today. Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear it. Nothing like feeling better. Nothing like visiting with my cousins up north to make our day better. Enjoying making the wall hanging. Oh, fantastic. Have a wonderful week, Kathy and Ron. Thank you both so much. I am so glad to hear, A, you're feeling better. Nobody likes to feel crummy, especially not in the spring. And B, that you're making the wall hanging along with us. Awesome socks. This is great. I'm so glad that so many of you are making it along with me. I love this. I mean, I love the excuse to make a piece of art for the wall, especially like a smaller piece. I'm thinking, I mean, obviously this is a bit bigger than your standard painting, but it's not as big as a blanket. So it covers a nice chunk of wall. You know, like you have those, some of us have awkward spaces or awkward wall bits in our house. Like maybe you've got a long, narrow hallway, or you've got a dimly lit or a dark kind of staircase, or just generally an odd spot that needs a bit of decor. Crochet wall hanging takes care of that.
Do you know how many chains you'd need for a queen-sized blanket?
It depends on your yarn, your hook, your tension. It depends on if you are using a specific blanket pattern or not. If it also depends on, you know, how big you want to make that queen blanket. Do you want to make it with like overflow or overhang so that it drapes over the edge of the bed? Do you just want to make it to fit the top of the bed? Are you going to include a border? There's like a billion questions that you need to ask yourself before you figure out the chain number. But if you just don't really care and you're just scrap busting and you may or may not put on if you may or may not put on a border, then you just, and if you're not using a specific stitch pattern, so let's say you're just using half double crochet or you're just using double crochet, then you just grab your measuring tape, measure out the space. Thank you, Karen. Thank you for picking up a few patterns. Measure how long you want your width to be, or if you're, you have a predetermined measurement in mind. Start chaining. Chain a length that when not stretched, so just, lay it down alongside your measuring tape. Keep chaining until you get to the desired measurement. Add a few extra chains on the end for good measure, and then just start crocheting. And that will give you a generally accurate width, provided your tension isn't crazy off, like crazy tight or crazy loose. And then if you need to, you can add a border, and borders are great. You can always add more rows of border if you need more depth or more width or more length. You can always add fewer border rows if you don't need a whole lot of border, but you just want to frame it. So yeah. A little sip of my tea. I finished another row, chain one turn. Crocus, I don't think we have a tutorial for the Bavarian stitch. So as much as if it's the stitch I'm thinking of, we certainly don't have anything titled the Bavarian stitch. But at this point, there are so many people making tutorials and calling things different names because of where and how they learned it. I keep running into patterns that have like new names. I know, for example, the split stitch, the split stitch or the split shell stitch pattern as the split shell stitch. And then I recently came across a much older publication that called it the Irish stitch. Okay. And someone else the other day asked me if I knew what the dirty granny was, and it turns out it's the split shell stitch. So I don't know why somebody's calling it the dirty granny, but maybe that's how they learned it from their granny, and their granny has a crazy sense of humor. But all three of those names refer to the same stitch. I think if it's the Bavarian stitch I'm thinking of, we do not have a tutorial for that, but it is on the list because it's a pretty one. Oh, a jungle theme. That would be such a cute idea. Yes, if you're going to make a wall hanging with any theme, I personally think this is a good size. So, and again, you can vary the length. It doesn't have to be super tall if you don't need it to be super tall, but I feel like this is a good width, and we're going to put a little border on it. You can put any kind of border on it you want, but we're putting a specific garden themed border on this one. And this is so far about, come here, you. This is 18 inches wide, and then once we get the border on, it'll be just coming in under 21 inches, which was my original plan. But again, you can make it a little wider if you want to. Depends on the space you're filling or the wall you're filling. For us metric heads, that's 46 centimeters across. And yes, you can make it any color, any bunch of colors. If you were going to do it in a jungle theme, I would kind of think mostly dark at the bottom and then just shades and shades and shades of green. Because I think of a jungle, I just think of like endless shades of green and like no sky showing. Hi, JC. JC says, how about a vintage travel camper applique? Love that. Still dealing with the aftermath of my concussion, but doing better. I'm really glad to hear that. That was a nasty tumble. Thank you for the super chat. And I love that idea. And you know what? We already have a vintage travel trailer design that could be used as an applique. The center of our travel trailer granny square from our 2017 Fancy Granny Square tutorial is on its own the actual camper van. So you could make that camper van, not add the border or any of the extra stuff that turns it into the square, but just make the center, which is the camper van, and then use all the little appliques that are in the other side of that tutorial, like the wheel and the door and the window and the little trailer hitch. And there, you've got it. You've got a little mini camper van. If I had the thing next to me, I'd show you what I'm talking about. But I'll put together a little post later on today, because that is a great idea, JC. I absolutely love that. And yes, so technically you could use that and it would actually fit quite nicely. It's about this big. So just the center of that granny square, just make the first, I think it's the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever it is. It's the camper van rows. Just make the camper van part and then add all the little applique bits to it to make it finish it, and you don't need the rest of the granny square. That would be such a cute idea. Ooh, I love that. Nice cup of tea. All right, how am I doing? I don't want to overshoot. I have been chatting while I crochet. I want to make sure I've got, what did I say, 12? I guess it doesn't ultimately matter. 12 to 14, just plain rows of this blue before I start mixing in the other baby blue for the rest of it. And then, hopefully, with any luck, I'll have this part of the design done. Lots of sky. All right. I did 15 rows. Who cares? 15's fine. All right. I'm going to start working in this other blue. ultimately altogether, I want about 52 rows. So I'm aiming to do 52 rows of sky because I have a lot of things that I think will be kind of reaching into the sky, flowers, flying insects. You know, you guys have seen all the tutorials we've been doing up to this point. So I wanted a lot of sky and, you know, just a little bit of a dirt patch to kind of anchor or root things in. So most of this blanket, this canvas was going to be sky for me. But of course, like I say, you can vary it to taste. And let me start working in this little white and blue baby yarn alongside it. So I'm not finishing off with that blue. I'm just going to start adding this one in alongside it. And to do that, I'm going to make a slip knot. And first I'm going to chain one and turn this. Okay. And I'm going to put that loop on my hook. And now I'm treating both of these yarns as the same. So I'm just going to wrap that around. I'm going to reach through, and now I'm going to use both of those yarns. I'm going to leave that little short tail down. I'm going to work over top of it. And I'm going to hold both of those yarns together now. Here we go. Pick up a loop and half double crochet. There we go. Okay. Let me get this out of the way. Give myself a little slack and off we go. Half double crochet still in each stitch. This is a really thin yarn, so it won't make much of a difference to the thickness of my canvas. But like I said, I don't really mind if the texture changes a little bit because wall hangings, fabric wall hangings, textiles typically have a little bit of texture. So I'm absolutely fine with that. And I'm very interested to see how this little variation in the color changes up the top end of my sky. Plus it's nice to be able to use up this little whiff of baby yarn that I had left over from another project. Ms. Rabbit is thinking about going mixed media. I strongly recommend. Mixed media can be as simple as just adding some sequins or some buttons or a couple of beads. And it can be as complicated as working in all kinds of different, you know, like maybe adding a little bit of paint, like a little bit of fabric paint, or, you know, adding in, if you collect little, you can get them at the craft stores. Like they're just like little plastic, almost like buttons, but sometimes they're not buttons. They're just little plastic, I guess they call them cabochons, or I don't know what they call them. I think they probably also have a bunch of names too. But they're little plastic things that are like, maybe it's like a little birdhouse, or maybe it's like a little pail with a shovel in it, or you know what I'm talking about. Just those little things you can get at the dollar store or the craft store. You could add some of those in where applicable too. I think that would be really, really cute. Again, do some stash diving. If you're into crafts, probably you've got a bucket of miscellaneous craft paraphernalia, and you never know what might work out. You know what? Silk flowers, the fake silk flowers you can get again at the dollar store, at the craft stores. Some of those attached to this might look really cool. And of course, they're going to like 3D. They're going to sort of stick out a little bit. Sky is the limit. Turn on that creative engine and just let it fly. Get my first row of these two strands held together done, and it's very, very subtle. I like that little itty bit of white, and you almost can't even see the blue. I like it. I think it's going to make it look like it's kind of like there's stratus clouds floating across the sky. at the top of my wall hanging. I think that's going to look really neat. So yes, today my aim is to try and get as much of this done as possible so that we can do the border tomorrow. If I have a couple rows of sky left, I'll just finish it tomorrow before we get into the border. I feel like I'm zipping along at a pretty good clip here, so we'll see where today takes us. Barbara says, Jada, what about a Disney wall hanging? Disney. I mean, my gosh, doesn't Disney own like everything at this point? You could literally, I mean, that's technically Star Wars. Technically, that's, I think they've even got a deal with Warner Brothers for Harry Potter. I mean, don't they have a Harry Potter part of the park now? I guess you could do the princesses. I mean, there's a million themes you could do. Absolutely. Anything. Yeah, this is a little bit thicker, but not too much thicker. It's certainly not as, doesn't feel as thick as this transition because these were both size 4 medium weights. It's a little bit thicker, but it's not bad. So actually I think that's fine because the top of the blanket will be a little thicker, a little stiffer, I guess. And that will give it some extra strength since the blanket will be hanging technically from the top, obviously. We're going to crochet hangers as well to add to the sort of the back / top of our canvas so that they can hang. There's a lot of ways you can do that, but I've got a couple ideas in mind. Yeah, it's pretty subtle. You almost can't tell, so that just lightens it ever so slightly. And I think as I get used to these two strands held together, again, that baby yarn is pretty thin, so it doesn't really interrupt my flow. I feel like I can kind of manage it alongside that medium weight yarn pretty comfortably.
Do you remember the name of the yarn you used for the first dragonfly wings?
Yes.
Was it that Mary Maxim stuff?
Yep, it was Mary Maxim Prism.
Prism.
And it was in the colorway Rainbow. Vima is making a suggestion about Mary Poppins. That would be really cute. Yeah, I think that is a Disney movie, isn't it?
Mary Poppins, I think so. The silhouette with the umbrella, that would be a good wall hanging.
Oh, that'd be cute. I love Mary Poppins. The original Mary Poppins. The second one's okay, but it's not nearly as good as the first one. In my opinion. I realize everyone has their own opinion. Could be my age speaking, but I like the first one better.
Oh no, it's better. The first one's better by like 1,000.
The music is so good. The dancing is so good.
Marie asked, do you know how much cotton yarn is needed to make a tank top?
Well, I mean, if it's a tank top for a baby versus a tank top for a woman who's a size, triple XL, it will vary quite a lot. It'll also depend on, again, like, is it a tiny little tank top? Is it like a tube top with ties? Or is it a tank top that, fully covers down to your waist? The amount of yarn required for a project really can vary. And it'll also be affected by tension, the weight of the yarn, even the pattern sometimes. Some yarn patterns are a lot more sort of yarn eaters than others. I always recommend that you have too much yarn. So for example, if a baby blanket takes about, let's say, 500 to 600 yards of yarn, like a little baby blanket, and you picture that draped over you or over the person you're making it for, ask yourself, would this blanket fully cover, would this blanket offer the amount of coverage if it was reconfigured that I need? In which case you're looking at, 400, 500, 600 yards of yarn. But if you think to yourself, I don't know, I might want, a little extra for here, or a little extra for there, then you're going to want, always think in terms of 100 yards. If you're making clothing, think in terms of 100 yards. Always add an extra 100 yards if you're unsure, just to make sure that you don't run out. And not only that, but what if, you're using a yarn and there's a chunk that doesn't look nice? What if it's self-striping and you want to like fast forward to keep matching up your self-striping balls of yarn if you're going through several of them? You always want to have like about 100 yards of overage, just to be on the safe side. If I was making myself a tank top, like our little peekaboo sleeve top, it's not really a tank top, but it doesn't really have full-on sleeves either, and it's short. It's kind of like a crop top. I think, what did I use for that? Like 400 or 500 yards, I think. And I was striping it, so I don't know if that helps. That's sort of like a general rule of thumb. Always, when you're unsure, always get an extra skein. Always, 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 always.
Do we have a crescent moon applique?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
We do. It's little, but we do have one. And we have a tutorial for it. It is somewhere on the channel. It's about, I don't know, it's about that tall. I mean, if you made it with thicker yarn and a bigger hook, it would size up considerably. So yes, we do have a little crescent moon. In fact, I think it's even called Crescent Moon. Excuse me. So if you look for it, or you search Jade and Stitches Crescent Moon, it should pop up. Trying to keep my yarn from tangling. There we go. All right. Sort of a nice chill stream today. We've got kind of some overcast, rainy skies out there. I always feel whatever the weather's doing, it kind of is reflected by my mood. My mood reflects it. Does that make sense? Sounds like yeah, it's tornado season to the south of us here in the south of the US, so careful, careful, careful. Do we have a small raindrop applique, asks Barb. Do we? I have to really think. I know we have a raindrop, stuffed toy. Raindrop emoji, or a little raindrop applique. I don't think we do. That would be pretty easy to make, I would think. It depends on the size you want to make it too. Obviously, like really, really small. If you wanted it to look like it was raining on your blanket, you might just want to sort of like surface stitch, like do a little hand embroidery, just straight little lines, sort of like randomly located all over all like straight up and down. In like a dark blue or a bright white, just sort of randomly, because that'd look like it was raining. That would look really, really cute. And that would be probably easier and less work than creating a bunch of little raindrops, unless you wanted like a single specific raindrop. But again, that would depend on the size. But yeah, that would be pretty easy to make. I don't think we have a raindrop. Or a lightning bolt. Gee. Why do I think we've got a lightning bolt? I know I've crocheted one. I don't know. I've definitely crocheted lightning bolts. The question is, do we have a tutorial for it?
I will check our library.
Oops.
Doesn't look like we have a raindrop. I'm pretty sure we did a 3D one though.
Oh my. Annette! Hello, Annette! Thank you for picking up a pattern.
We
what
have
was that?
a 3D raindrop, but not a applique.
Yeah, we've got a little raindrop.
Was the other one?
A lightning bolt.
I don't think so.
I know I've added lightning bolts to projects before.
Yeah.
But
nope, no stormy weather stuff. Only sunshines over here.
Only sunshine.
Cloud.
Only sunshine on this channel. All right, what am I at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 rows, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 14, 4, and 15. So that's 33. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then another 5 so far. So 38 rows I'm at. So the rest of this blanket is going to be all this blue and this bluey white mix. It's a good thing I got that extra ball of yarn. Yes, May is also kind of tornado season in Ontario. We have been known to get some doozies. Right, got a little bit of an unwind happening here. I don't mind having to stop every once in a while just to kind of keep my yarn from tangling. Maybe it's good for me because it stops me kind of racing along too much or getting too far ahead of myself. But sometimes I'm like, I just want to keep crocheting. Stop tangling. Welcome everyone if you're just popping in or joining us, and hello to the lurkers out there. I know some of you are lurking today, especially if you're doing a lot of crocheting. You can't necessarily crochet and type in the chat all at the same time. Yes, the more sky, the more room I'll have for flying things. This is good. I want a sky full of butterflies and dragonflies. I think I've got like 4 or 5 of each. Not that I intended to use them all. I was sort of making them to kind of get an idea for color and sort of design and everything, but I do have a lot of them, and some of them I really like. So, and they're big. You know, my dragonflies and my butterflies are what, like 3 to 4 inches across, so they're pretty large. They're going to take up a lot of territory, and I'm perfectly all right having some of them maybe like overlap other things like flowers and whatnot, but the more sky the better. Hello, Meg. Thank you for picking up a pattern. I wonder if I should just re-roll this. It takes too much time. All right, so I am looking at the clock and I'm just thinking, we got about 15 minutes left. I'm kind of hoping that I can feel one of my fingers wanting to lock up on me, and I don't know whether that's because I'm crocheting quickly or because I have to keep pausing and interrupting my rhythm. Hello, Beth. Beth is in the chat. Beth with a membership milestone. Beth's been a member for 5 months. Thank you, Beth. Beth says, made it to alive. Happy Mother's Day, everyone. Ah, yes. Mother's Day is this weekend? I think it's this weekend. That is a May thing, right? I am losing track of everything. I should look at my calendar a little more often.
I think Easter in March messed us up.
It really did. Hi, Dee. Dizzy D, member for 16 months. Thank you, Dizzy D. Says, happy early Mother's Day. I agree. Happy early Mother's Day to everybody. Nancy's asking if this is an easy pattern for somebody who's not terribly experienced to attempt. And I would say, absolutely. You don't have to get super crazy complicated with the appliques you make. Making this canvas is just straight half double crochet. So if you know how to half double crochet, then you can certainly make the canvas, and then you can decorate it any way you like. It's probably a good beginner project. If you are new to making appliques and sewing them onto projects, it's a good way to learn because you just are working on a flat space. So you don't have to worry about trying to bend an applique around a corner or trying to sort of fit it onto something that has an existing shape. You just sort of lay things on and then sew them down. And if you want to see what that kind of looks like writ large, we have a calendar blanket project from, was it 2019? Our 2019 calendar blanket project. was the folk art calendar blanket. It was a full-size blanket made to look like a cross-section, I guess, a very pastoral cross-section. There was a bit of ocean, there was a town, there was a farm, there was the forest beyond and the sky above. And we had all sorts of appliques for every single section. And they're all stitched on, and every single one of those appliques basically shows where and how we stitch it onto the blanket. So if you're curious, you can check that out. I think we might even have that linked somewhere. If not, we'll make sure it's in the description box for this live as soon as today's live is finished. Aha. I really like lighter weight yarn. I'm starting to appreciate it more the longer I crochet, but it will tangle. I'm just going to quickly roll this up because I'm sick of watching it bounce around. Oh, thank you for adding the link, Mr. and Stitches. Yes, we have a folk art calendar blanket playlist, and it includes the original blanket canvas plus all of the appliques and the bonus appliques. We did extra appliques throughout the year for that.
We have the video series, and we also have the written version ebook. And we have a new member!
Linda! Welcome to the family! Thanks for joining the membership. Welcome to Applique, Linda. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'm just rolling this up, and I'll toss it in one of my little yarn bowls. Just to kind of keep it from bouncing around. I'm just sick of this. Laurel's back, feeling better, good to see. All right, there we go. So I'll toss this in a bowl. That'll keep it from rolling around on me. One last tiny little knot. There we go. All right. Come here, bowl. There we go. All right. All set. Well, if you're going to make the folk art calendar blanket, Nancy, then you might want to make this one as a trial run. It's almost like a sampler sized version of it, and that way you can sort of, I don't know, get a feel for how the whole thing goes together, especially if you're kind of new to that sort of stuff. I wouldn't say it's hard. It just, some of it takes more time than others. Like sewing down the little appliques, for example, takes a little bit of time, but it's not difficult. Welcome, welcome. If you're still catching us, we are on day 4 of our garden wall hanging. Full instructions are in the description box, and so are the previous days' videos if you want to catch up. It's mostly just me doing half double crochet, but it is kind of a bit of company. Sarah, thank you so much for picking up a few patterns. Really appreciate it. I like how this is coming together. I think I like this. I like this, just the subtleness of the white and the blue running through the top. Some of that blue in that baby yarn is so similar to this blue that you wouldn't even see it. So it just looks like little bits of white kind of peppered in there. I like how this is coming together. Tata was asking if we'd done lettering before. We did, sort of. I've done lettering of different kinds. On our first ever temperature blanket, which was the first ever kind of calendar blanket we did, we chain stitched lettering into the bottom of the blanket. I like doing that. I love chain stitch writing because it's pretty much continuous You can add it in at the end, and it's kind of nice. It's a nice way to sort of title and sign a blanket. So we have a video on chain stitch writing, which I really like. And we do have some lettering. Well, I guess it's more like numbers. We've done a couple of graph style versions, like folk art, or I should say the folk isle style crochet. We've done a couple of the dates, so like 2023 and 2024. But I think that's really the only lettering I've put on a blanket. Mr. and Stitches with the temperature blanket playlist link. Thank you, sir.
Earning my keep today.
Now that I have completely rewound that ball, and it's in the bowl. Try saying that 20 times fast.
Dina would like to know, how many rows of sky do you have right now?
I will count at the end of this row.
Count and measure.
My aim is for 52 rows of sky, and I think I'm on the latter half side of that. I will count and measure at the end of this row. As it gets longer, I need to roll it up so that it kind of like just sort of not really roll, but kind of fold it up so that it doesn't dance around and smack into me. It's almost like doing a little blanket. Kind of long and narrow though. It's more of a, I think of like a tapestry, a wall hanging, as kind of a long, narrow piece of art. Probably as wide as they could make the loom back in the day. Okay, last stitch of that row. Let's see where I'm at. Woohoo! So 14 and 4 is 18, plus 15 is, my math should be better than this, 28 plus 5 is 32, right? 33. And then 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. So I'm 42 rows in, which means I'm 10 rows away from finishing the sky section, so that's exciting. And so far the sky is measuring almost 17 inches long. It doesn't even all fit on camera anymore. And that is 43 centimeters. So I am going to get through these last 10. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to smack everybody in the face there. Laurel, thank you. Thank you so much for picking up a couple of patterns. Laurel is definitely feeling better. All right. Hello, hello, everybody. If you're just joining us, welcome, welcome, welcome. So 10 more rows. Let's see if I can get them done in the remaining few minutes we've got here today. And if not, I will polish them off quickly at the beginning of tomorrow's live stream as we do the border. So just a quick note, when you're zipping along doing two-stranded work like this, if you accidentally miss a stitch with one of the strands, you only wrap with one, or you don't quite grab them both, don't worry about it, don't frog it, it's not going to come undone, just keep going. Just keep, keep the two together and keep going. It ultimately, it doesn't matter. It's not going to show. It's not going to you're not going to have strange lines. It's not going to unravel on you or anything. So don't worry about it. If you catch it in the middle of the stitch, feel free to sort of fix it and make sure you've got both strands held together. But in the odd case that you you slip and you don't quite get both of them, don't worry. Don't worry about it. Thank you, Laurel. I really appreciate that. Star Derek is getting grumpy detangling yarn. You know what? I think yarn detangling is more of a winter opportunity for me. I will go search out balls of yarn that really need to be dealt with in the winter when I'm kind of bored and I don't know what else to do, and I'll quietly sit and untangle a ball of yarn while I watch a movie or something. I feel like that's like cold, dark weather, work. I don't really want to be bothered detangling yarn when it's, when the weather's good and my energy's up and I just want to crochet. Beam is asking if tomorrow will be a double feature Friday. No, we are just going to live stream tomorrow. We are going to do finishing the canvas. So we're going to make sure that the sky is completely finished. If not today, then definitely tomorrow. And we're going to put the border on so that the canvas is complete and we can all start putting our appliques on. Like I said, a lot of you kind of read ahead and already finished your canvases. So tomorrow we will be adding the border. And that is tomorrow's plan. Thank you, Anna. Thank you so much for picking up a pattern. Yeah, so tomorrow's plan is just to live stream again. This is sort of a week of live streams. It was kind of a surprise week. And so instead of having a pre-recorded tutorial for tomorrow, we are just going to live stream instead. And we are going to make sure that the entire thing is finished. We're going to talk about, if we have time tomorrow, we'll start talking about a little bit about layout, hanging, because I know we all work at different speeds, but this week was dedicated to getting the canvas done and in a decent time. So if you kind of work on it for about an hour every day, like I've been doing, then the idea was that by the end of the week we'd have a solid wall hanging complete and ready for decorating. And you can spend as much time as you want laying out to, little bits and pieces. Go through our applique projects and our other tutorials and our patterns and stuff, and see if there's anything in there that you would like to add to your garden. And feel free to start making some of them, because you don't know necessarily how many things you want to stick on this canvas, how many or how few, but it's entirely up to you. And we've got a lot. We've got an awful lot now. And of course, you guys keep giving me great ideas, so I need a week of days every day just to do all the things I want to do. Oh, a beehive. That's a cute idea, Barb.
Ooh, I like the beehive idea with a couple little bees zipping around.
Well, we've got the bees.
Teddy would like to know do you know what the border color is going to be, or is it going to be a surprise tomorrow?
It is not a surprise. I shall tell you. Certainly, that's a great question. So the plan is to do row 1 in green. So if you've got green left over from any of the greens left over from the bottom, but it doesn't matter, green or a leaf color. So green, some kind of any shade of green that you like, because not a lot of it'll show. It'll just be, it's kind of like the foundation row of the border. And then row 2 of the border is flower petal color. So any flower color you like. You can do multiple colors if you want. You can use variegated yarn, self-striping yarn, whatever you want. The idea is that our border is going to look like a frame of flowers, and it's not a difficult border. If you are a Silk or Vicuña family member, we put up a pattern in the members webpage for you guys yesterday, and that included the border that we're adding to the canvas. It was sort of a sneak peek, a look ahead at it. So yes, you need 2 colors tomorrow, and they can be green, like a leafy green color, you know, whatever the dark color, whatever green you have, light, dark, doesn't matter. But it could also be brown, it could be black. It's all right, not a lot of it's going to show. So just think in terms of like leaves underneath the petals of a flower. And then row 2 of the border is going to be flower petal color, whatever flower color you like. Multiple colors, variegated, self-striping, doesn't matter. I'm thinking I want to do a pink. I want to do pink petals, but I don't know. I'm gonna kind of go through some of my yarns tonight. I did get that absolutely glorious new hot pink. I might be persuaded to use that, but I have so many other pretty pinks and corals, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use yet. I'm going to get them all together onto the craft table and look at them all in comparison to this blanket. And that will be tomorrow. So yes, great question. And we're going to use the same hook size. So whatever hook you used to make your blanket or your canvas, I'm using the 5.5 millimeter. We're going to use the same hook size to do the border. And as soon as I finish this row, I'd better count because I haven't been paying attention. I don't think I've done 10 rows yet. I know I'm motoring along, but I definitely don't feel like I've chained one and turned like 10 times since I last measured. I love that hot pink too, Crocus. It is just, ugh, man, I love that pink. I love it, love it, love it. It is powerful though, so I'm not so sure that I don't know. I guess I could make the frame really say a lot, or I could make the frame kind of subtle. I haven't decided yet. For all the gardeners out there, I got my seedlings, or not my seedlings, my seeds into, I have a little, we kind of put together a little mini indoor garden shelf up against the window in the kitchen. And I got my seeds all kind of tucked into their little dirt starter homes earlier this week. And I'm very excited that my cabbage and my zucchini have all sprouted already. So Jade is a very excited gardener. I've been hovering over them every morning and every evening, kind of looking at them excitedly.
Sue would like to know, how wide will the border be?
The border is only going to be about an inch, maybe a little over an inch, and that'll run across the top, the bottom, and the side. So it's very, narrowish, about, and it'll have a little bit of give. And of course, it's depending if you want to use a thicker weight yarn for your petals, or maybe a thinner weight yarn for your petals, depending on the texture you use, that will also vary the border a little bit. But it's only 2 rows, and neither of those rows are terribly tall, so about an inch it'll add to either side, the top and the bottom. Lynette, hello Lynette, thank you so much for this super chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Lynette sneaking in with a little with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. All right, so I'm going to pause and count. Where am I at? Why can't I remember this? 14 and 4 is 18, plus 15 is 28 to 33, plus 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46. 46. So I am 6 rows away from the end of this sky. All right, my hand is complaining a little bit, so I'm going to leave it there. I have 6 more rows of sky to do. You know what? While we're finishing up, I will sneak in one more row. One more row. So that means I'll have only 5 rows to do when we get our tutorial, the live stream going tomorrow. I'll have 5 rows of sky left to finish, and then we will start into the border, which is fine because while I'm crocheting rapidly back and forth, we can talk about the choice of colors. You guys can pick the green and the flower petal color that I'll be using for my canvas. I'm going to have a whole bunch of them here on the table. I know I won't be able to decide myself. And you guys as a group always just make the best decisions. So we will choose the border colors from my gathered stash for tomorrow. In terms of how much yarn you're going to need for the border, I'm going to say that row 1 or the green row of the border probably won't take much more than, oh golly, like 15 yards. It's very light in the crochet department, so it won't require much yardage. And the second row, the flower petal row, will probably take up about, maybe, you know, just to be safe, have like 35 to 40 yards of your flower color, but I don't think it's going to take that much. It's a very minimal little border, but just enough to kind of give us the right idea. So we'll talk.
Sorry, can you repeat how tall you want to make this again? Was
Yeah,
it 36 inches?
It's the when it's complete, so including the border,
With
it will be
border.
no longer than 36 inches. And I mean, it's going to stretch out a little bit. It's going to, I might give it a little bit of blocking. So the idea was that it would be no more than 36 inches, but the way I'm doing it, it'll probably be, because I'm double stranding, that thickness will keep it from wanting to stretch out too much. So it'll probably top out at like, I don't know, between 30 and 36 inches long. I will measure, of course, as we go. There, I just finished another row. So that's 5 rows. 5 rows left to do tomorrow. While I'm doing those 5 rows, we will pick colors for the border, and then we will get right into the border. Let me see how long things are so far. So I have 5 rows left in my sky. The sky section is pretty much 19 inches deep, or 48 centimeters. Now to measure the whole thing, so I'm going to have to turn it sideways here. All right, so from top to bottom, we are at 25 inches, or 63 centimeters. And that is unblocked, unstretched, not finished, and the border isn't on yet. So on track, I would say.
Today is Kathy's birthday.
Happy birthday, Kathy! Happy birthday, all the May
birthday
babies!
to Kathy.
Wow, there's a lot of May babies that are in the chat today. Ms. Summer says, I just got it while sitting here, LOL. What are we talking about?
Summer just got the new cat game.
Oh!
Cat
Yay!
in
Little
the
Kitty
City
Big
or
City.
something?
I'm
Oh,
probably
we're
gonna
getting
get
that
that
tonight.
Yeah, that's on the playlist.
That's gonna be our date night. Jada gets to play while I watch.
It has hats. The little kitty has hats. I have to play it. I have to play it. A little sweet little thing. All right. And
What's it
indies.
called again? So I think it's Cat in the City.
Little
or
Kitty Big City. It's an indie game. I love to support
Little
indie
Kitty
game
Big City.
developers.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah. I love supporting indie game developers. Yeah, Little Kitty Big
It's
City.
also 10% off today.
It's
so
10% off today.
That's something.
It's it's a very small group. There's like a. I also just picked up another one that a lot of you might like if you have a Switch. It's called Stitch. How appropriate. It's a husband and wife couple that developed this game, and it is just super zen. You're basically just filling in cross-stitch imagery. It looks like cross-stitch. There's like a little bit of counting and just a gentle amount of puzzling involved with it, but it's really beautiful, and the little images they created are so pretty. It's just called Stitch, and it's like a little textured cross-stitch video game. It's adorable. I highly recommend it. Very zen. Available on the Switch.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. Oh my gosh. Okay. Everybody, I will finish off the last 5 rows of the sky tomorrow. We will pick colors for the border. We will do the border together tomorrow. So tomorrow, Friday, is a live stream day. We will live stream at 11 a.m. Eastern. So as opposed to a tutorial or a regular scheduled video that pops up later in the afternoon, tomorrow, Friday, special event, we will be live streaming at 11 a.m. Eastern to complete the canvas. And then that will be a week of canvas building, all wrapped up. We will get the border finished tomorrow. So if you need to catch up or you want to work ahead, again, the instructions for the canvas are in the description box. And tomorrow we will have the border instructions in the description box for tomorrow's live stream too. So look forward to that. If you have questions, again, feel free to leave them in the description box, the comment section, I should say. I'm trying to read as many as I can so that I can kind of make sure that they're getting answered at least during the stream. If I don't get to it, I will be trying to get to comments within the next couple days to actually physically write back to you guys. So bear with me. It's been a busy week. This has been so much fun so far. I'm so glad you guys have been able to join us. Sneaky sale is on all day. It's the deciduous tree. If you want to add a tree to your blanket, that's from our folk art blanket. We have a tutorial for that. And our butterfly, we have a live tutorial for that. We did a last week or a couple weeks ago. Those are both the sneaky sales for today. They run all day. They're in the Etsy shop. Thank you to everybody who's popped in and picked up a pattern. Thank you to our members. Thank you to our subscribers. Thank you to all of you who've joined us today. And I hope you can all join us again tomorrow as we finish this canvas. Mr. Stitches, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Well, first of all, I'm loving the canvas.
Yeah, this is really...
It's looking real good. I like the effect there of the lighter sky.
Very
up
subtle
top.
sky,
like
yes.
There's wispy clouds. No, I think you covered it. The sneaky sale patterns, there's 2 of them today. No,
I kind of like it lying
I'll
sideways.
just make sure we have some links in the description box that we discussed today. And
Glory V, thank you. Glory V sneaking in at the end and picking up a couple patterns. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you so much. I think you covered it all. We'll see everyone tomorrow at same time.
Yep. Same bat time, same bat
Eastern.
channel.
Yep.
11 a.m. Eastern. Yep. Okay, great. Guys, take care. Have a wonderful afternoon. Keep an eye on the community chat or the community post area of the site because I'm going to post a few things. And we will see you all tomorrow.